Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show with your host, Bill Shelton. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Well, welcome to this edition of the Michigan Golfer, the greatest game ever played. It's a hit movie that's just come out in recent days, and we have the good fortune of our reporter, Michael Patrick Shiels, had the opportunity to visit with the director, Bill Paxton, of that great movie. Of course, it's the story of Francis Ouimet and his victory, very improbable victory, in the Open tournament many, many years ago. So let's go over and listen to Michael Patrick as he talks to Bill.
There are not a lot of, well, I don't even know if there is a great golf movie. There have been some.
Caddyshack.
Is that what comes to mind?
Of course. There's a Cinderella story.
Are there any others that you looked at or studied before?
I didn't study any golf films. The films I studied, again, were Tombstone, Color of Money. I liked what Scorsese did with the pool playing. Star Wars, Shane, believe it or not. I needed to lift the game out of just a thing for golfers. I mean, I think golfers will love this movie, don't get me wrong. This was a watershed moment where this caddy, this immigrant son, in 1913, at the age of 20, ends up with a 10-year-old caddy, ends up in a three-way playoff against Harry Vardon, arguably the greatest golfer that ever played the game, and Ted Ray, who won the British Open a couple times. So it is a Cinderella story in a real way. I grew up around the game. When I was a kid growing up in Fort Worth, Texas, my parents moved next door to Shady Oaks Country Club, and this was Ben Hogan's home club. Mm-hmm. So like Shia LaBeouf's character of Francis Ouimet, who worshipped Harry Vardon from afar, there was Ben Hogan. I'd be my cornflakes looking out the kitchen window. I could see him out there practicing.
Okay.
But I never got a passion to play the game as much as I just loved the game. I loved the golf course for me was my backyard growing up. But I was like a club rat. I made all my money at the club, and it was just my home away from home.
What do you think Ben Hogan would say then about the techniques that you used in this movie? I mean, that's an awfully creative picture.
Probably go, My father one time, my father was in the hardwood lumber business, and he knew Hogan, like I said, and he went into the clubhouse one day, and he'd taken one of those black Hogan drivers. He put that black, coat on those drivers. Usually be persimmon or some kind of great hardwood. And my dad had the thing completely stripped and just had a clear coat, so the wood grain came out with the Hogan logo, and it looked pretty good. So he went over to Ben. He said, "Hey Ben, I would strip this club down. I kind of had a urethane coat put on it, and I, what do you think?" That's what he did. He took one look at the club. He went,
That was showing emotion, I guess, for Ben Hogan.
Well, people know the public man. My father actually knew the man. I was intimidated by the guy. I was really like, when I was 11 years old, and if he was on the course, it was all business. He was practicing. It was all focused and concentration. So someone on the outside of that would think, hey, this guy's not very much of a nice guy. He's kind of a hard dude. And if you were playing against him, it was like playing the Iceman. But my dad remembers a different guy. He remembers Hogan saying one time to him, "Don't ever write anything about me, John." And my dad said, "Well, I'm not a writer, Ben." And another time he said to my dad, he said, "I don't want to be remembered as a golfer. I want to be remembered as a gentleman." And I got a couple letters. "Dear Mullet, I'm having my annual tournament and would like you to play in it." My dad writes back, "Thanks for the invitation to the Mullets tournament. I look forward to playing in it." Hogan would have a tournament at Shady Oaks every spring, and it was an opportunity for a lot of show people and athletes to come down to Fort Worth. And as a boy, I remember selling golf balls to Ray Bolger and meeting Mickey Mantle, Jack Benny, guys like that. And the craziest thing is Eddie Lowry, who you would know because of your golf history. Eddie Lowry, who plays the 10-year-old kid who carries Francis Ouimet's bag in the Open, he went on to become a prominent car dealer, and then he put Ken Venturi on the road. Well, I have a piece of paper that shows the foursomes going out on this day. It was probably in like 65. And above my dad is Eddie Lowry teeing off there, and my dad remembers having lunch with him. He said, "I know you've done a lot for Ken Venturi." And my dad remembers Eddie Lowry saying, "You have no idea." We should talk about the film a little
How
bit.
did you coach that young fella? I mean, he stole the show.
He was great.
How did you set him up to be such a punkish kid?
You know what? When you read the script, you're kind of thinking the guy's right out of Central Casting. He's like Burgess Meredith and Rocky. Keep your head down, champ. Look out for the right. Keep your arms up, champ. Keep your hands up. But like the Mickey Rooney kind of demented version. And I called him the closer. What's cool about his character is he comes in about halfway through the movie. You know, it's really Francis's tale, and then he gets this great little ally. But I tried to liken this movie out of the golf world a little bit, and I saw it more like Tombstone. Because as you know, championship golf is a kill or be killed profession. These guys are gunslingers. You go in the eyes of a Tiger Woods or Vijay Singh or one of these guys, and when they're getting ready to go. So I tried to visualize that with Harry Vardon. Well, first with the kid, with Francis we met. He's the cowboy going into this thing. So I almost created like an Alfred Hitchcock Vertigo when he can pull that pen to him and get his focus. Then later on in the tournament, he can't. It just shoots away from him. Then I contrasted that with Harry Vardon. He's like the Terminator. He's up on the tee box, and suddenly we see his mental game. We just see everything disappear, and we just see him in the pin. It just made the audience. It makes the audience feel like they're in this movie. I love this movie. Obviously, I'm really passionate about it.
Dutch Leonard lives in this neighborhood here in Birmingham.
I know we're near Walter Hagen's old home club
that too. And Dutch has had, you know, tens of his movies anyway made into films. What was it like to work with Mark Frost? Did it complicate things having him on the scene? Because this is his masterpiece.
It is, and I've had a great relationship. We're all traveling together, and we're just having the best time because we've all been busy doing other things in the last few months. The picture was finished at the beginning of the summer, and but Mark. I met Mark. I knew I loved the story, but when I met Mark, I knew I wanted to do the story. I had the pleasure of making a kind of a cheesy film with his sister about 10 years ago, or maybe been 15 years ago, called Monolith. And I really dug her, and I knew that I knew of him as this writer. I'd never had the chance to meet him, and we've had the greatest collaboration on this. We are all really proud of this work, and we're hoping to do more things together, me and Mark.
But surely there must be some concessions when a man's book is that thick.
Oh,
and it
absolutely.
has to be pared down.
Yeah, that's a good, solid question. It reads like Seabiscuit. It's a page turner, but it's a dual biography. It's the story of Francis we met, but it's the story of Harry Vardon, two guys who came from modest circumstances, and how they're going to meet at this tournament and how it's going to change both their lives. And Stephen Delane, who does an amazing job playing Harry Vardon, someone I had worked with. I told him about the project. He was intrigued. He read the book, and then he read the script. And he said, "Where's the part?" I said, "It's not in the screenplay." Okay, well, where is it then? I said, "I see you in this movie, kind of like Alan Ladd and Shane. You know, we know you're the guy." But we know the past. It haunts this guy. There's something that's darkened him.
Yes. Last question: were you tempted to do a cameo? Show us your action.
No.
Congratulations.
I couldn't bring on the heat, baby.
Sure you
really
could.
A pleasure.